Let me ask you something. How many of you walked in here smiling on the outside, but fighting a storm on the inside? You've been stressing. You've been overthinking. You've been losing sleep over things you cannot control. But I came with an announcement today. God is already making a way out of this. Stop stressing. Intro. Hear me clearly. Before you cried about it, God saw it. Before you panicked, God planned. Before you felt stuck, God already designed an exit. You think this situation surprised you? You think this problem caught God off guard? No, what you're calling pressure, God is calling preparation. What you're calling delay, God is calling development. And what you're calling the end, God is calling a turning point. You don't need more fear. You don't need more worry. You need perspective, because God is already making a way out of this, and it's time for you to stop stressing and start trusting Him. See, so many of us live our lives feeling trapped, like we are standing at the bottom of a mountain with no way out. Every day you wake up with a weight on your chest, worried about bills, relationships, career setbacks, health concerns, or just the uncertainty of life itself. You look around and all you see are obstacles, walls that feel unbreakable, doors that seem locked, and roads that are blocked. And in those moments, stress creeps in, anxiety whispers in your ear, and doubt tells you maybe there's no way. But here's the truth that will change everything for you. God sees the exit before you even see the problem. Before the storm formed, the rainbow was already in place. Before the road got blocked, God already made a detour. Before you felt stuck, God already had a plan to move you forward. You might be panicking in the moment, but God is calm and deliberate. What feels like chaos to you is actually choreography to Him. Ink about a farmer planting seeds. To the casual observer, it's a small seed in the dirt, invisible and fragile. Days go by, nothing happens, and frustration begins to build. But the farmer sees what the seed will become. He sees the green shoots that will break through the soil, the leaves that will grow, the fruit that will come. You can't see the harvest yet, but the farmer knows it's coming. Hat is exactly how God works in your life. The harvest is coming even when all you see is dirt and darkness. Let me give you a real life example that many of you can relate to. Imagine someone who has just lost their job. Every day they wake up stressed, worried about paying rent, putting food on the table, or keeping their family safe. To the human eye, the situation looks hopeless. Doors are closing. Opportunities seem gone. But God sees the exit before the problem even exists. Maybe the job loss is what pushes them to start a business they always dreamed about. Maybe it forces them to pursue a career that aligns with their true purpose. Maybe it connects them with people who will change the course of their life. What looks like an ending is actually the start of a new path, carefully crafted, unseen, but already in motion. Or think about relationships, friendships, partnerships, even family struggles. Sometimes we find ourselves in situations where we are misunderstood, mistreated, or left behind. We cry, we stress, we question why things are happening, but God sees the exit before you do. He knows who needs to stay in your life and who needs to leave. He knows which doors need to close so the right doors can open. You can't always see it in the moment, and it may not make sense to you, but God has already positioned your life to move in the direction it's supposed to go. What feels like heartbreak or rejection is often a redirection toward a greater blessing. Every day, ordinary people experience this principle without even realizing it. A student fails an exam they studied so hard for, only to discover that failing pushed them to a different school or career path that brings them greater success. An entrepreneur faces rejection after rejection, but that rejection is actually a filter, keeping them from partnerships that would have led to failure and guiding them toward the ones that will lead to victory. A parent loses a child's opportunity in one school, glad to watch them flourish in another environment that brings out their true potential. The exit was there all along, but our eyes were too focused on the walls in front of us. Stress comes when we focus only on what is visible and immediate. But God invites you to look beyond the moment. He invites you to trust that what you cannot see is already in motion. He invites you to step forward with faith. if, even when the path seems blocked. Every trial you face, every roadblock you encounter, every moment of doubt, it is temporary. It is not permanent. And behind every struggle is an unseen solution already orchestrated by God. You see, the problem you are facing today is not the end of your story. It is only a scene in a much larger narrative, one where the ending has already been written. God doesn't wait for you to figure things out. He doesn't hesitate while you panic. The exit is already there. It just requires your trust to walk toward it. Stop stressing about the problem. Stop replaying it in your mind. Stop trying to control it when it is out of your hands. Instead, look up, take a breath, and step forward knowing that the way forward has already been prepared. And here's the MOS. Beautiful part, God doesn't just provide any exit. He provides the right exit. He doesn't just move obstacles randomly. He moves them with precision. He doesn't just create opportunities. He creates your opportunities. So when stress tells you there is no way out, remind yourself the exit has been seen, the path has been made, and the victory is already in motion. All you need to do is trust. Wait patiently and move forward with courage. So today, when the pressure mounts, when the walls seem higher than ever, when the problem looks bigger than you can handle, remember this: God sees the exit before you see the problem. He knows the way forward even when you do not. And that knowledge, that truth is enough to silence your fear, calm your heart, and inspire you to keep moving forward. R&D. One step at a time until you reach the breakthrough that has already been prepared for you. Have you ever noticed how much energy we waste worrying about things that are not even ours to carry? You wake up in the morning, your mind racing, thinking about problems that haven't even happened yet, bills that aren't due, conversations you haven't had, or judgments that don't belong to you, yet some. How your shoulders feel like they're carrying the weight of the world. That, my friends, is stress. And here's the truth. Stress is not a badge of honor. It is a signal that you are carrying what God never intended for you to carry. Think about it like this. If you pick up a bag that isn't yours, no matter how strong you are, it will eventually strain your back. You weren't meant to leave. Yet you struggle because you feel responsible. That's exactly what stress does in our lives. We pick up responsibility that isn't ours, trying to control outcomes we were never meant to control. You stress over people's opinions, over decisions that are not yours to make, over paths that God has already designed. And the moment you accept that these burdens were never yours to begin with, why? Begin to feel lighter. You begin to breathe again. Look at daily life. Have you ever watched someone trying to micromanage everything? Family, friends, work, finances, and felt how tense they are. Their eyes are tired, their words are sharp, their patience is thin. Why? Because they are trying to carry what God never gave them to carry. They are trying to carry someone else's dreams, someone else's expectations, someone else's mistakes, and every time they do, stress multiplies. But imagine if, instead of trying to control it all, they let go and allowed the natural course of life to unfold. Imagine if they realized that their responsibility was to show up, give their best effort, and trust that the results are already being handled by a higher power. Life would feel easier. Joy would return. Energy would flow. Let me make it even more tangible. Picture a single mother waking up before the sun, working 2 jobs, making sure her kids have breakfast, homework done and are ready for school, and then worrying if they'll grow up okay, if she's making the right decisions, if the bills will be paid, if her family will ever be proud. She's carrying a heavy load, and some of it isn't Eve and hers. Some of it belongs to the future. Some of it belongs to her children. Some of it belongs to circumstances that she cannot control. Yet every day she pushes herself, carrying more than she should, stressing more than she needs. The moment she realizes that she only has to do her part, love, teach, provide, and trust that the rest is being taken care of, she frees herself from stress. She stopped. P.S. carrying the world, and she starts walking in peace, even in the workplace. This is true. You see someone staying late at the office trying to fix problems that are above their pay grade, worrying about things that are not in their control, trying to make everyone happy. They are stressed because they are carrying burdens that are not theirs to carry. They forget that their job is to work with integrity, give their best effort, and trust that the outcomes are already aligned with a higher plan. When you try to control everything, when you overthink, when you overplan, you add unnecessary weight. Stress is a clear signal that you have picked up what you were never supposed to lift. And relationships, oh, relationships. How often do we stress over what someone else thinks, how they feel, whether they will accept us, whether they will agree with our choices? We try to fix, convince, control, and please. And all of that stress is a sign that we are carrying someone else's heart or mind as if it were our responsibility. Let go of that. Focus on your love, your words, your actions, and allow the rest to unfold naturally. That is freedom. That is peace. Stress is not a punishment. It is a signpost. It is God's way of saying, you are holding what is not yours. Stop, release, trust, focus on what I gave you. And when you listen, everything changes. Suddenly, problems shrink. Challenges become opportunities. Life begins to flow rather than crash. Your energy returns. Your mind clears. Your spirit rises. You realize that the weight of the world was never meant for your shoulders, but you were strong enough to carry it long enough to learn the lesson. The practical step is simple but powerful. Every time you feel stress, ask yourself, is this my responsibility or am I carrying something that is not mine? Be honest. Let go of what you cannot control. Focus on what you can. Show up fully where you are. Give your best and trust the process. Life becomes lighter when you stop carrying what was never yours. Stress loses its grip when you let God handle the things only He can handle, and you handle what only you can do. So today, if you feel the weight pressing down on you, if you feel the worry keeping you awake at night, hear me clearly. Stress is a signal. It is a signal that you are carrying something that does not belong to you. Drop it, release it, let it go. Focus on your role, your actions, your purpose, and trust that God is already making a way. When you do this, life stops being a struggle and starts being a journey filled with peace, clarity, and joy. Remember, stress is not power. Stress is a sign. And when you listen to the signal and stop carrying what was never yours, you unlock the power, the peace, and the purpose that God intended for you all along. How many times have you been ready for something, worked tirelessly, poured your heart and soul into a goal, and yet it hasn't arrived? You've done everything you can think of, planned, prayed, pushed, and positioned yourself, and still nothing seems to happen. You start to feel discouraged. You begin questioning yourself. You wonder if the opportunity is gone, if the door has closed, or if life is just moving past you. But let me tell you something crucial. Delays are not denials. They are divine setups. Think about it this way. When a farmer plants seeds, he doesn't dig them up every day to see if they've grown. He waters them, cares for them, and waits patiently, knowing that growth takes time. The delay is not a denial that the seed will sprout. It is the necessary process that allows the seed to grow into a strong, fruitful plant. In your life, the delays you're facing are preparing you for the harvest that is coming. They are strengthening your roots, sharpening your skills, and positioning you to handle more than you think you can handle. Look at daily life. A young professional lands their first job, and they've been dreaming of a promotion or a career shift for months. They work hard, sometimes harder than anyone else, and yet the promotion doesn't come immediately. The project they wanted to lead is given to someone else. They feel frustrated, overlooked, maybe even invisible. But here's the hidden truth. This delay is building their resilience. It's teaching patience. It's giving them the experience, credibility, and wisdom they need to lead success. Only when the right opportunity finally arrives. If it had come too soon, they might have stumbled, but now they're prepared, they're ready, and when the timing aligns, they will not just succeed, they will thrive. Even in relationships, delays serve a divine purpose. Think of two people who are meant to be partners. If they meet too soon, before they've learned crucial lessons about themselves, about love, about boundaries, the relationship may fail. But a delay allows growth. It allows healing. It allows maturity. It allows both people to show up as their best selves, ready to give and receive in a way that lasts. What feels like waiting is actually preparation. It's God or life or the universe, however you want to call it, aligning everything perfectly so that when the door finally opens, it opens fully, without hesitation, without weakness. Consider entrepreneurship. So many successful people we admire didn't hit success immediately. They faced rejection, failed deals, bankruptcy, or projects that didn't take off. They wanted the breakthrough yesterday, but it didn't come. The delay was not a denial. It was preparation. It taught them to refine their product, to understand the IR audience, to master resilience, and to develop the courage to try again. And when the breakthrough came, it was not a small step, it was a leap. The delay set them up for exponential success. Even in your personal growth, delays are a gift. You may feel stuck in a situation, financially, emotionally, professionally. You might be asking, why is this taking so long? Why is this not happening now? But delays are life's way of saying, you are being prepared. You are being positioned. You are being strengthened. Every delay carries a lesson, a skill, a piece of wisdom, or a moment of self-discovery that you will need when the time finally comes. If everything happened instantly, you wouldn't be ready for the responsibility, for the impact, for the blessing that is coming. Here's the key. Your perspective matters more than the delay itself. You can see it as a setback, as a punishment, as life moving against you. Or you can see it as preparation, as refinement, as divine alignment. Those who succeed are not necessarily those who get everything immediately. They are those who keep showing up, who stay consistent, who trust the process, and who continue working while waiting. Every day you spend growing, learning, refining, and preparing. You are building a foundation that no immediate success could have given you. Even the small, everyday delays carry meaning. The traffic jam that makes you late for a meeting might give you time to practice your presentation in your head or to reflect on your goals. The long line at the store might give you a chance to catch your breath, to smile at a stranger, or to think creatively about a challenge. The delay in a paycheck might teach budgeting, patience, or resourcefulness. Life is full of these subtle divine setups, preparing you in ways that are invisible until the results appear. So the next time you feel frustrated because things aren't moving as quickly as you want, pause and remind yourself, delays are not denials. They resetups. They're preparing you to step into something bigger, better, and more aligned than you could have imagined. Trust the process. Keep showing up. Keep growing. Keep learning. Keep moving forward. And when the timing is right, you will look back and realize that every delay was a step toward the breakthrough you are about to experience. Remember, what feels like waiting is actually preparing. What feels like a pause is actually positioning. And what feels like a delay is actually a divine setup. Trust it. Lean into it. Keep working, keep growing. Because the moment you've been waiting for is not just coming, it's coming perfectly. Have you ever felt crushed by the weight of life? Have you ever looked at your circumstances and thought, I can't handle this, or this is too much for me? That, my friends, is what we call pressure. It comes in many forms: deadlines at work, financial strain, family responsibilities, personal expectations, and the constant push to be better, do better, and achieve more. And in that moment, it feels heavy, suffocating, and relentless. But what if I told you that pressure is not a sign that you're failing? What if I told you that pressure is proof? Proof that you are growing, proof that you are stretching, proof that you are stepping into a level of life that is meant for you, Pressure is the universe's way of saying you are not the same person you were yesterday. When you are being pushed, stretched, and challenged, it is because you are ready to expand. Think about a weightlifter. They don't grow muscles by lifting light weights that feel comfortable. They grow when the weights feel heavy, when their muscles shake, when their body screams, "I can't do this." That strain, that struggle, is exactly what builds strength. In life, pressure works the same way. The harder the challenge, the greater the growth. The more uncomfortable the situation, the more prepared you are becoming for your breakthrough. Look around you at daily life. C and K of a student preparing for final exams. For weeks they stay up late, memorize notes, and feel the tension in every nerve. It feels impossible. Their mind races, their heart pounds, but that pressure is proof. Proof that they are investing in their future. Proof that they are reaching beyond their current capabilities. Proof that they are on the path to achievement. Without that pressure, they would never stretch beyond the familiar, never push past mediocrity, never discover the limits of their own potential. Even in work or career, pressure is a signal. Imagine an employee assigned a project that seems impossible. The deadline is tight, the expectations are high, and every mistake feels monumental. They feel crushed, stressed, anxious, but that pressure is evidence that they are being stretched to a new level. It forces them to think creatively, to work harder, to tap into skills they didn't know they had. And when the project succeeds, the sense of accomplishment is not just about the result. It's about realizing how much they grew under pressure. That tension was proof of development, not punishment. Relationships also carry pressure, and the same principle applies. When two people are in a relationship, conflicts arise, misunderstandings happen, and expectations collide. That pressure is not a sign that love is failing. It's a sign that growth is happening. You are learning patience, empathy, communication, and resilience. You are discovering what you can give, what you cannot compromise, and who you truly are under stress. Pressure is the teacher that shapes your character, the crucible that tempers your heart, and the proof that you are evolving into a stronger, wiser person. Even in personal goals, pressure is necessary. Think about someone training for a marathon. Each day brings sore muscles, early mornings, and pushing past the temptation to quit. Every bead of sweat, every aching tendon, every moment of doubt is proof that growth is happening. The huma in body and spirit adapt under strain. The person who feels overwhelmed today will cross the finish line tomorrow with confidence, endurance, and pride. That pressure wasn't a punishment, it was preparation. That pressure was proof. Financial pressure works the same way. Imagine a family living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to make ends meet, worried about bills and praying for stability. That pressure is not a curse. It is shaping creativity, resourcefulness, and resilience. It forces people to plan better, prioritize, negotiate, and innovate. And when they finally achieve stability, when they finally secure financial freedom, they do not take it lightly. They have grown into it. They have earned it through the pressure that once felt unbearable. Even emotionally, pressure is transformed. When life challenges us with unexpected loss, disappointment, or betrayal, we feel crushed. We question ourselves, life, and the fairness of it all. But every pressure-filled moment is evidence that we are being molded, refined, and elevated. It teaches emotional intelligence, patience, and the ability to bounce back stronger than before. Those who rise above their circumstances are not those who avoided pressure. They are those who embraced it, learned from it, and allowed it to shape them. The key is perspective. Pressure can feel like a burden, or it can be seen as proof. It can feel like an enemy, or it can be a mentor. It can feel like a threat, or it can be a signal that you are growing beyond your previous limits. Every great success story, every inspiring journey, every life transformed, pressure was present. It was the silent force building strength, shaping character, and confirming potential. So, the next time life presses on you, the next time stress makes your heart race, the next time a situation feels too heavy to bear, remind yourself, this is proof. Proof that you are growing. Proof that you are being stretched into a version of yourself that can handle more, achieve more, and impact more. Proof that you are stepping into a life that is bigger than yesterday. Pressure is not the enemy. It is the evidence that you are evolving. And when you see it this way, stress transforms from a burden into a signal, from a struggle into an opportunity, and from fear into faith in your own growth. Life is not happening to you. It is happening for you. Every pressure, every challenge, every uncomfortable moment is proof that you are becoming stronger, wiser, and ready for what's next. Embrace it. Own it. Let it shape you, because the pressure you feel today is the proof of the greatness you are becoming tomorrow. Have you ever been in a situation where every door seemed closed, every option seemed blocked, and every hope seemed lost? You've prayed, you've worked, you've strategized, and still nothing appears to be moving. Maybe it's a career you've been chasing, a dream you've been nurturing, or a challenge you thought you could never overcome. And in that moment, it feels hopeless. You start thinking, maybe there's no way. Maybe this is impossible. But here's the truth that changes everything. God specializes in making ways where none are visible. Life is full of invisible paths. Sometimes the way forward is not clear to our eyes, not obvious to our minds, and not logical to our reasoning. But just because you cannot see it doesn't mean it isn't there. The universe, or God, or life's design has a way of opening doors, arranging encounters, and creating solutions in ways you never imagined. That is how breakthroughs happen. That is how dreams materialize. That is how the impossible becomes possible. Think about someone who loses their job unexpectedly. Their income stops, their bills pile up, and they feel like every door has closed. They knock on every possible opportunity, only to be met with rejection after rejection. It feels like the end of the road. But then, one day, a friend mentions an opportunity they had never considered, a skill they had never thought of applying suddenly becomes their advantage. A chance encounter leads to a career they hadn't imagined. That moment, when a way appears seemingly out of nowhere, is proof that God specializes in making paths where none were visible. It is a reminder that even when we can't see it, a way is already being prepared for us. Look at daily life. How many times have you been in a traffic jam, late for an important meeting, frustrated and anxious, only for the delay to save you from something worse? A car accident, a missed opportunity, or a critical mistake? That is life making a way where none is visible. Sometimes the wrong turn, the missed bus, or the lost opportunity is not a setback. It is a setup. It is a way being made, hidden from your eyes, aligning circumstances perfectly, even if you cannot perceive it at the moment. Even in relationships, this principle is true. You may have prayed for a partnership, a friendship, or reconciliation with someone, and everything seems blocked. You feel stuck, unheard, overlooked. But then unexpectedly, a conversation happens, a mutual friend intervenes, or circumstances align, and suddenly the path opens. A solution, a reconciliation, or a connection appears where you saw nothing. This is life or God specializing in making ways where none seem possible. Entrepreneurs, dreamers, and innovators understand this principle. Think about the person who wanted to start a business, who faced loan rejections, market doubts, and countless setbacks. The path seemed impossible. Investors said no. Competitors dominated. Friends doubted. But then an unexpected investor believes in them. A small opportunity turns into a partnership, or a chance conversation sparks a marketing strategy that changes everything. That way that appeared out of nowhere is proof that even when the route seems blocked, life is creating one for those who refuse to give up. Even on a personal growth journey, God specializes in king ways where none are visible. You may be struggling with habits, emotions, or fears that seem impossible to overcome. You've tried every method, every plan, every routine, and yet change feels elusive. And then, A book you read, a conversation you have, or an experience you undergo transforms your mindset. The breakthrough happens through a path that was invisible to you, a way that you could not have created on your own. This is how life works. Solutions, opportunities, and breakthroughs often appear in the most unexpected ways. The principle is universal. What is invisible is not non-existent. Just because you cannot see the exit doesn't mean it isn't there. Just because you cannot see the solution doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The key is to keep moving, to keep trusting, to keep believing, and to keep your heart open for the ways that life is making, often behind the scenes, that you cannot yet perceive. Even the smallest examples show this. A person forgets their wallet and misses the bus, only to encounter someone who changes the course of their day. A student misses a class, only to discover a new perspective that becomes crucial to understanding the lesson, a wrong pH. One call leads to an opportunity that changes the course of their career. These are always being made, often invisible, but perfectly timed and aligned. So, the next time life feels blocked, when every door seems locked, when the path forward is invisible, remember this, a way is already being made. You may not see it, you may not understand it, you may feel frustrated or anxious, but the force at work in your life are larger than the obstacles in front of you. God, life, the universe, they specialize in creating solutions that are invisible to the naked eye, opportunities that are invisible to your reasoning, and pathways that are invisible to your planning. The moment to act is not to give up. It is to trust, to keep moving, to keep striving, and to remain ready. The way may appear unexpectedly, suddenly, or in a manner you never imagined. When it does, you will look back and realize that everything that seemed blocked, impossible, or hopeless was actually part of a larger design preparing you for the breakthrough that was already in motion. Remember this, in your daily life, the road you cannot see is not the road you cannot travel. The doors you cannot open are not the doors that cannot be opened. The solutions you cannot imagine are already being made visible in time. God specializes in making ways where none are visible, and that way is coming for you. How many times have you felt trapped in a season of struggle, pain, or uncertainty, thinking to yourself, this is it. This is how my life will always be. Maybe it's a financial setback, a failed relationship, a career hat's not moving, or a personal challenge that seems too heavy to bear. In those moments, the weight of your circumstances can feel overwhelming, as though your story is stuck on a page you don't want to read. But hear this clearly, your current struggle is not your final story. Life has a way of testing our patience, pushing our limits, and stretching our endurance. But struggle is never permanent. It's a chapter, not the conclusion. Think about it like this. A caterpillar doesn't stay in its cocoon forever. It struggles, it contorts, it undergoes transformation, and then eventually it emerges as a butterfly, stronger, freer, and more beautiful than ever imagined. Your struggles are the cocoon. They are shaping you, preparing you, and strengthening you for the story that is yet to be written. Look at everyday life. Consider the student who fails an important exam. They feel defeated, frustrated, and ashamed. They think, maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe I'll never succeed. But that failure is not the end. It is a lesson. It teaches perseverance, focus, and humility. It forces them to reassess their approach, to study harder, and to refine their skills. And when they finally pass, the victory feels sweeter because the struggle made them stronger. That moment of struggle was never the final story. It was preparation for the chapter of success that follows. Even in careers, struggle is temporary. Think of someone who has been passed over for a promotion, overlooked for a project, or stuck in a job that feels unfulfilling. They might ask themselves, is this as good as at GE? TS. Will I ever get ahead? The truth is, this moment is not the climax of your story. It is the buildup. It's shaping your resilience, your knowledge, and your ability to seize the opportunity when it finally comes. Many of the most successful people face long periods of struggle before their breakthroughs. What looked like failure was actually preparation, and the chapter of victory that followed was far greater than anything they could have imagined while in the middle of the struggle. Even relationships have this pattern. You may be going through heartbreak, misunderstanding, or conflict. You feel lost, alone, and unsure if things will ever get better. But this is not your final story. The lessons learned through struggle teach empathy, patience, communication, and self-awareness. They prepare you to attract healthier relationships, to communicate more clearly, and to love more deeply. The pain you experience today is not permanent. It is temporary scaffolding for a stronger foundation in your future. Financial struggles, too, are temporary and transformative. Perhaps you are in debt, struggling to pay bills, or wondering how you will provide for your family. It feels endless. The pressure seems unbearable, yet this season is not your final story. It teaches budgeting, discipline, resourcefulness, and creativity. It strengthens your problem-solving abilities and your determination. When financial stability comes, it will be more meaningful because you've grown into it through the struggle. The hardship is temporary, but the lessons are lifelong, even health-challenging. Let's remind us that struggle is a chapter, not the conclusion. You may be recovering from illness, surgery, or a physical limitation. At times, it feels like this is the new reality you have to accept forever. But the process of recovery, small victories, incremental progress, and dedication reminds us that transformation is possible. Your current struggle with your health is preparing you for a futu, in which you are stronger, wiser, and more appreciative of every step you can take. The key to embracing this truth is perspective. Struggle feels permanent when we focus only on the present moment, but life is a series of chapters, each with its own challenges, lessons, and growth. The struggle you are facing today does not define the entire book. It is a plot twist, a learning curve, and add up for something greater. When you understand that your current difficulty is temporary, you can face it with courage, patience, and hope. Faith, determination, and persistence are essential in these times. Keep moving forward, even when it feels like you're getting nowhere. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep believing that a breakthrough is coming. Every setback, every failure, every disappointment is a signal, not a conclusion, that your story is still unfolding. And when the next chapter begins, it will be richer, fuller, and more inspiring because of the struggle you endured. So the next time you feel trapped in difficulty, when life feels heavy, or when hope seems distant, remember, your current struggle is not your final story. This chapter is temporary. It is shaping you. I'm teaching you. It is preparing you for a future that is bigger, brighter, and more aligned with your purpose than you can imagine right now. The ending has not yet been written, and the best is still to come. Keep your head high, your heart strong, and your spirit unbroken, because no matter how heavy the struggle feels today, the story isn't over. Your final chapter is coming, and it will be one: triumph, growth, and breakthrough. The struggle is real, but it is temporary, and it is only a step toward your greater story. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to lose your peace when life doesn't go the way you planned? The bills pile up, deadlines loom, relationships get complicated, and your dreams seem to be slipping further away. In those moments, fear, anxiety, and doubt creep in, pairing. What if it never works out? What if this is all there is? It feels like the walls are closing in, and every step forward becomes heavy and exhausting. But here is the truth that changes everything. Peace does not come from circumstances. It comes from trusting God more than what is happening around you. Most of us try to find peace in the wrong places. We look for it in bank balances, in JAKES promotions, in perfect relationships, or in situations that are outside of our control. But circumstances are unpredictable. They shift, change, and often fail to meet our expectations. True peace comes from something deeper, something unshakable, something beyond what the eye can see. It comes from trust. Trust that there is a force greater than your problems. Trust that even when the situation seems impossible, a way is already being made. Trust that the source of life, purpose, and provision is already at work in your favor. Look at everyday life. Imagine a single parent juggling multiple responsibilities: work, school runs, bills, and family needs. Each day feels like a battle against time. Every small problem seems magnified. And yet when they decide to trust that things will work, that they are not alone in carrying the weight, they discover peace in the middle of chaos. They may not see how every need will be met, but the faith that the solution exists allows them to face the day without fear. Peace emerges when you stop being controlled by the situation and start being guided by trust. Even in the workplace, this principle applies. Think of an employee facing a critic. Project with tight deadlines, high expectations, and limited resources. Anxiety builds and panic seems inevitable. But when they shift their focus from "how will I make this work" to "I will do my best," and trust that the outcome is already being handled, a calmness takes over. Their mind clears, their creativity flows, and they begin to see solutions that were invisible under the weight of worry. Peace comes when trust replaces fear, when faith replaces frustration, and when belief overshadows doubt. Relationships, too, are a fertile ground for this lesson. How often do we worry about friendships, partnerships, or family bonds? How often do we replay conflicts, fear rejection, or anticipate disappointment? The truth is, peace in relationships is not found in controlling the other person, in forcing understanding, or in predicting outcomes. Peace is found when you trust that love, truth, and integrity are at work, when you trust the process and focus on your part. Your actions, your words, your kindness. Peace replaces anxiety, and harmony begins to grow. Even in financial struggles, peace is possible. Imagine someone facing mounting bills, uncertain income, or unexpected expense. Panic is the natural response. But peace arises when they trust that provision exists beyond what they can see, when they focus on solutions, take responsibility for what they can control, and leave the rest to the unseen forces guiding their path. Anxiety gives way to calm determination. Trust creates peace where fear would otherwise dominate. It allows the mind to think clearly, the heart to rest, and the soul to breathe. Think about health challenges. A person facing illness, surgery, or recovery may feel fear and uncertainty. Questions arise: will I heal? Will I get better? When peace is anchored in trust, trust in the process, trust in their body, trust in the guidance that has brought them this far, they find the strength to endure. Peace is not the absence of struggle. It is the presence of trust amidst the struggle. And this trust gives them clarity, courage, and the ability to navigate each day with calm determination. Even in life's small annoyances, traffic jams, missed appointments, or delayed plans, peace is available when you trust more than you stress. The world around you may feel chaotic, but your inner world can remain calm. Your response, not your circumstances, determines your peace. Those who find peace amid chaos are not those who escape difficulties. They are those who trust in a power greater than the problem. Perspective is the key. When you focus on what you can control, the effort, the intention, the integrity of your actions, and trust that outcomes are already being arranged in ways beyond your comprehension, peace becomes natural. Worry no longer dominates your thoughts. Anxiety no longer dictates your decisions. You carry a quiet confidence that whatever comes, you are not alone, and a way forward is being made. The moment to claim peace is now. It is a choice to trust more than to fear, to believe more than to question, and to surrender control while taking responsibility. Every situation, no matter how dire, has a solution, a lesson, an outcome being arranged. Your peace does not depend on seeing the path. It depends on trusting the one who is already making the path clear. So the next time life feels overwhelming, when stress threatens to consume your heart, or when circumstances scream that nothing is working, remember this: peace comes when you trust God more than your circumstances. When trust replaces fear, calm replaces chaos. and clarity replaces confusion. You will find that even in the hardest moments, you can move forward with confidence, hope, and a steady heart. Peace is not found in what is happening around you. It is found in who is working for you, even when the way seems invisible. Have you ever faced a challenge so overwhelming, so unfair, so impossible that you wondered if it would ever be resolved? Maybe it was a sudden financial crisis, a broken relationship, a job loss, or a personal failure. The kind of situation that keeps you awake at night, makes your stomach churn, and makes you ask yourself, why me? Why now? In moments like these, it's easy to feel abandoned, powerless, or defeated. But here is the truth that can change your life. If God allowed it, God will resolve it. Every situation, no matter how difficult, has a purpose. Even when it seems like chaos, confusion, or heartbreak, nothing enters your life without permission. And if it has permission to exist in your life, it also has a resolution built into it. The challenges, the setbacks, the storms, they are not permanent sentences. They are temporary chapters, lessons, and opportunities to grow, strengthen, and discover your own resilience. Think about the daily struggles we all face. Imagine a small business owner who invested everything they had into a venture, only to face failure because of circumstances beyond their control, supply chain issues, market shifts, or an economic downturn. At first, it feels like the end of the road, like everything they worked for is gone. But if the struggle exists, it also comes with a resolution. Maybe it's a new opportunity in a different industry, a partnership that brings greater growth, or lessons that prepare them for their next successful venture. If the challenge was allowed to happen, the resolution is already in motion, even if it's invisible at the moment. Even in personal relationships, this truth holds. You might be experiencing conflict, heartbreak, or betrayal. You might feel like the pain will never end. But if this situation is in your life, it is because there is something to be learned, something to grow from, and ultimately, something to resolve. Perhaps it teaches forgiveness, perhaps it reveals your own strength, or perhaps it prepares a way for a healthier, more meaningful connection in the future. If it exists, there is a solution. Trust that it is already being arranged. Consider health challenges.